Imagine waking up one morning with nothing more than a slight ache in your jaw. No crushing chest pain, no dramatic collapse. Nothing that makes you think, I should call an ambulance. So you brush your teeth, you make your morning coffee, you go about your day, telling yourself, I'm probably just getting older. A few hours later, you're in the emergency room, fighting for your life. Here's the frightening truth. Many heart attacks don't begin the way Hollywood has taught us, especially after the age of 50. In fact, some of the earliest warning signs are so subtle that people dismiss them completely. Some blame indigestion. Others blame stress. Many assume they slept in an awkward position, and countless people convince themselves they'll feel better tomorrow. But by the time they realize what's really happening, they've already lost precious minutes that could have saved their life. In today's video, we're revealing 12 silent warning signs your heart may be sending before a heart attack. Some of these symptoms can appear days or even weeks before the emergency happens. Others may show up only minutes beforehand. But here's what surprises most people. The most dangerous warning sign isn't chest pain. It's a symptom that millions of people brush off as completely harmless. We'll reveal what it is later in this video. Because once you know what to look for, you may never ignore these warning signs again. And that knowledge could one day save your life, or the life of someone you love. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Lina, a senior health specialist dedicated to helping adults over 50 protect their health through reliable, easy-to-understand medical information. One thing I've learned after years of educating older adults is this. Your body rarely stays silent before something serious happens. The problem is, it doesn't always speak in ways we expect. When it comes to heart attacks, many people wait for unbearable chest pain, but your heart can send warning signals long before that happens. Some of those signals are so subtle they seem completely unrelated. That's exactly why today's video is so important. By the end, you'll know which symptoms deserve immediate attention, which ones people mistakenly ignore, and when waiting could become the biggest mistake you ever make. So let's begin with one of the earliest warning signs. Sign 1. Chest pressure or tightness, not necessarily pain. We've finally arrived at the symptom most people expect, but even here, there's a misunderstanding. A heart attack doesn't always feel like someone is stabbing your chest. Many survivors describe something very different, a heavy pressure, a squeezing sensation, tightness, or the feeling that something heavy is sitting on the center of the chest. Some compare it to wearing an extremely tight belt across the chest. Others say it feels like an elephant is standing on them. The important thing is this. It doesn't have to be severe. It may come and go. It may last only a few minutes before returning. And because it isn't dramatic, many people delay calling for help. Never wait for the pain to become unbearable. If chest pressure is new, persistent, or accompanied by any of the warning signs we've discussed today, treat it as an emergency. Because waiting to see what happens is one of the biggest mistakes people make. And now we've reached the final warning sign. Ironically, it's often the one people notice first, yet almost nobody realizes what it could mean. Sign 2. Pain in the jaw, neck, shoulder, or arm. When most people picture a heart attack, they imagine someone clutching their chest. But that's only one possible symptom. Your heart shares nerve pathways with your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, and especially your left arm. Because of this, your brain can sometimes misinterpret where the pain is actually coming from. Instead of chest pain, you may notice an aching jaw, a stiff neck, pain between your shoulder blades, or a dull ache running down one arm. Sometimes it feels like muscle soreness. Sometimes it comes and goes. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. People blame their pillow, a workout, arthritis, or sleeping in an awkward position. Then they wait. But if this discomfort appears suddenly, especially alongside fatigue, sweating, nausea, or shortness of breath, don't wait to see if it disappears. Because heart attack symptoms don't always become stronger right away. Sometimes they fade, only to return much more severely later. And that false sense of relief causes many people to delay getting medical care. Now here's where things become even more confusing. The next warning sign often convinces people they're dealing with a stomach problem, when the real issue is their heart. Sign 3. Heartburn or indigestion that feels different. Have you ever eaten a heavy meal and felt burning in your chest afterward? Most of us have. That's why this symptom is so easy to dismiss. But heart-related discomfort can feel almost identical to acid reflux. Some people describe it as pressure. Others say it's burning. Others feel fullness or discomfort in the upper stomach. The reason is surprisingly simple. The nerves that carry pain signals from your heart are located close to the nerves serving your digestive system. Sometimes your brain can't immediately tell the difference, so what seems like ordinary heartburn may actually be your heart sending a warning. Here's the mistake many people make. They take an antacid, they sit down, the discomfort eases slightly, and they assume everything is fine. But temporary relief doesn't always mean the danger has passed. If this burning sensation is unusual for you, or it's accompanied by fatigue, jaw pain, cold sweating, difficulty breathing, or unexplained nausea, don't assume it's something you ate. Treat it as a potential medical emergency until a healthcare professional tells you otherwise. Because coming up next, we're going to discuss one of the most overlooked heart attack warning signs after age 50. It's something millions of people blame on getting older, when in reality, it could be one of the clearest signals that the heart is struggling. Sign 4. Shortness of breath. Have you ever found yourself out of breath after doing something that never used to leave you winded? Maybe walking across the parking lot, climbing a single flight of stairs, or even having a conversation while moving around the house. Many people blame aging. They think, I'm just not as fit as I used to be. But your lungs and your heart work as a team. Your lungs bring oxygen into your body. Your heart pumps that oxygen-rich blood to every organ and muscle. If your heart isn't pumping effectively, your body has to work much harder just to get the oxygen it needs. That's why shortness of breath can appear before any chest pain ever starts. Sometimes it's mild. Sometimes it happens only during physical activity. Other times, people wake up in the middle of the night feeling like they can't catch their breath. That should never be ignored, especially if it appears suddenly or is accompanied by fatigue, jaw pain, or pressure in the chest. Because while many people wait for pain, their body has already been sending another warning for hours. And speaking of warnings, the next one is so common that millions of people dismiss it every single day. Sign 5. Cold sweats for no obvious reason. We've all sweated before, after exercising, working outside, or spending time in hot weather. But imagine sitting quietly in an air-conditioned room, doing absolutely nothing, and suddenly breaking into a cold sweat. Not warm perspiration. Cold, clammy, sticky sweat. This happens because your body recognizes that something is seriously wrong. As the heart struggles, your nervous system releases stress hormones. These hormones prepare your body for an emergency. One of the results is sudden, unexplained sweating. Many people describe it as feeling like they have the flu. Others say they suddenly become pale, cold, and drenched in sweat. If this happens together with chest discomfort, shortness of breath, nausea, or pain in your jaw or arm, don't try to sleep it off. Your body may be sounding an alarm, and the next symptom often appears at the exact same time, yet people rarely connect it to their heart. Sign 6. Nausea or an upset stomach. Here's a symptom that surprises many people. A heart attack can make you feel sick to your stomach. Some people lose their appetite, others become nauseated, some even vomit. Naturally, most assume it's food poisoning, a stomach virus, or something they ate. But when the heart isn't receiving enough blood, it can affect nearby nerves that also communicate with your digestive system. That's why nausea can sometimes be one of the earliest warning signs. This symptom is especially important because it's more commonly reported in older adults and women, although it can happen to anyone. The key is paying attention to the bigger picture. Ask yourself, is this stomach discomfort happening along with unusual fatigue, cold sweats, difficulty breathing, pressure in the chest? If the answer is yes, don't assume it's your stomach. Rule out your heart first, because the next warning sign is one that people often describe in exactly the same way. It just didn't feel right. Sign 7. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or sudden fainting. Have you ever stood up and felt the room spin for a second? Occasionally, that can happen to anyone. But if dizziness appears suddenly, especially without a clear reason, it may be your heart struggling to supply enough blood to your brain. Think of your heart as your body's pump. When it's not pumping efficiently, your brain is often one of the first organs to notice. You may feel lightheaded, unsteady on your feet, or as though you're about to faint. Some people actually do lose consciousness. Others describe feeling like they're floating or not quite themselves. These symptoms should never be brushed aside, particularly if they're accompanied by chest discomfort, shortness of breath, cold sweats, or nausea. Many people assume they simply stood up too quickly, but if the feeling is severe, repeated, or happens without explanation, it's important to seek medical attention immediately. Because the next warning sign is one many people mistake for simple aging, when it could actually be a sign that the heart has been struggling for weeks. Sign 8. Swelling in your feet, ankles, or legs. Take a look at your feet for a moment. Do your shoes feel tighter than they used to? Have your socks started leaving deep marks around your ankles? Maybe your feet seem unusually swollen by the end of the day. Many people think, "I'm just getting older," or "I've been standing too much today." Sometimes that's true, but persistent swelling can also be a sign that your heart isn't pumping blood as effectively as it should. When blood flow slows down, fluid begins to build up in the lower parts of the body. Gravity pulls that extra fluid into your feet, ankles, and lower legs. On its own, swelling doesn't automatically mean you're having a heart attack, but when it's combined with fatigue, shortness of breath, or reduced exercise tolerance, it could point to an underlying heart problem that deserves medical evaluation. Remember, heart disease often develops gradually. Your body may send small warnings for months before a major emergency occurs. And that brings us to another symptom that's incredibly easy to ignore. Sign 9. A rapid or irregular heartbeat. Most of us have experienced our heart racing after exercise or during a stressful moment. That's perfectly normal. But what isn't normal is a heartbeat that suddenly becomes fast, irregular, or feels like it's skipping beats for no obvious reason. Some people describe it as fluttering. Others say it feels like a bird trapped inside their chest, or as though their heart is pounding while they're sitting perfectly still. These sensations are known as palpitations. They can have many causes, and they're not always dangerous. However, if they occur together with dizziness, chest discomfort, shortness of breath, or fainting, they should never be ignored. Your heart's electrical system may be under stress, and in some cases, it may be signaling a serious cardiac emergency. If your heart suddenly feels different than it normally does, listen to it. Literally. Because the next warning sign often appears while you're doing absolutely nothing. Sign 10. An unexplained feeling that something is wrong. This may sound unusual, but doctors have heard it countless times. People who later experienced a heart attack often say, "I knew something wasn't right." Not because of severe pain, but because of an overwhelming feeling that something was terribly wrong. They couldn't explain it. They just felt uneasy, restless, anxious, almost as if their body knew something before their mind did. Some describe it as a feeling of impending doom. Others say they couldn't get comfortable, no matter how they sat or lay down. While anxiety alone doesn't mean someone is having a heart attack, this feeling becomes much more significant when it appears alongside physical symptoms like fatigue, shortness of breath, cold sweats, or discomfort in the jaw, chest, or arm. Never ignore your instincts when your body is also showing warning signs. Sometimes, your body notices the danger before you fully understand what's happening. If there's one message I hope you take away from today's video, it's this. A heart attack doesn't always announce itself with dramatic chest pain. Sometimes, it whispers. It begins with unusual fatigue, a sore jaw, shortness of breath, cold sweats, or a feeling that something simply isn't right. The earlier you recognize those whispers, the sooner you can seek medical attention. And that decision could save your life, or the life of someone you love. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your family and friends, especially anyone over the age of 50. You never know who might need this information today. And if you'd like more simple, evidence-based health advice to help you stay active, independent, and healthy as you age, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching. Take care of your heart, because it's been taking care of you your entire life.